Welcome to the OMA podcast, where small business owners thrive by mastering the art of managing relationships. As an entrepreneur, you know that relationships are the lifeblood of any successful business. We'll help you unlock your full potential with powerful tools and strategies to lead your team through the unique challenges that all small business owners face. Are you ready for growth and success? Let's dive in. Welcome back. I'm Maria Landers, and I'm guiding you through this series of our podcast on culture. Today's topic is determining your culture. So there's some questions that you can ask yourself to decide, like, what is my culture? Some folks really struggle with this. They know why they got in business doing what they do, but as you start to grow and scale and bring on more employees, you have to get even more crystal clear about what your culture is going to be like so that you can influence them so that your business can continue to grow and thrive. So we talked the last couple of podcasts about our core values and beliefs. You have to know that you know what that is and how it applies specifically to your business. You know, what principles guide your decision making? What are those fundamental values that you want to uphold as a company? That is something that is just extremely key in understanding your culture and communicating that with your employees. Now, another question you can ask yourself is, how do you want your employees to behave and interact with your customers? Do you have certain attitudes that are encouraged or expected in your organization? I have been in any number of businesses where I think to myself, wow, that person sure does seem happy to be here. They just seem like this is the last place in the world they want to be. If that employee feels that way, it just makes me feel yucky. Like as a customer, am I bothering them? I'm sorry that I needed to shop at your business today and you actually had to do something and help me or check me out or something. And and I don't mean to sound sassy about it, but if my customers come in my business and my employees were to give off the impression that they are being bothered or that they are not there for them, that would be a huge issue for me because that is completely outside of the culture that I personally want for my business. So you need to understand how you want them to interact. You've been to places like Disney World. If you came in and you walked through the gate and they weren't smiling at you, and it would be strange, right? Because that is their culture. Their culture is, hey, it's the happiest place on earth. So if they were unhappy in that moment, it would start to make you maybe subconsciously question, is this really the happiest place on earth? And in that moment, I might have to say, that person does not align with their culture at Disney World. So we've talked a little bit about this. What about your mission and values? What about your vision? What is that overarching purpose and long-term goal of your company? Do your employees understand that? Do you have it written out where they can read it for themselves and continue to hold themselves against that to say, am I meeting that mark? A couple more questions that I want to just run by you today is, how do your employees feel about your culture? Do they feel a sense of belonging and purpose within your company? We talked about revenue and how we can pour that back out as a reward or an incentive for our employees. Sometimes them belonging is knowing that you care enough that they worked hard for you. Another thing that you can think about is, do you show up and say, wow, thank you so much. I enjoy having you at our business. You are a wonderful asset to us. You complete our team. I tell my staff all the time, and I really believe this, they are the dream team. They work so hard. They work so well together. If I have an issue, if I can take it to them and they say, hey, thank you for the feedback. They want to be better. Now, could that maybe hurt and sting a little in the moment? Yes. But now I'm not going to deliver that news in a rude way. I'm going to say, hey, look, we need to talk about something that's just related to the business. We need to see some shifts in this area. And I'm going to explain what I'm seeing and what it should be. But when we walk away from that conversation, there's no bitterness, there's no hard feelings, it's business. Our goal, our culture, is that we are here for our customers. And so if that means having a hard conversation about maybe a procedure that wasn't followed properly, well, then so be it. We all understand that that is for the greater good, that sometimes we have to talk about those things. The last question I want to share with you on how to determine your culture is, how do you communicate that culture to your employees and those stakeholders? This could be your customers. You might have investors. You might have partnerships with different companies. I know we have third-party partnerships in our business where, based on how we communicate and how we work with our customers, that may or may not affect this business relationship that I have with that third party. And so how do we ensure that the culture is clearly articulated and understood by everyone? There are just things that I will not do. There are things that I will not compromise on. And so you have to be so clear about what you want your culture to be so that you can clearly communicate that and set an expectation for your employees. Not only is it important to know what you're trying to communicate, but how do you communicate it? How often should you communicate it? Do you talk about it? Do you email about it? Is it in your policy and procedure manual? Is it in your onboarding manual for your new employees? So what are those expectations and cultural values that you want to express, and are they getting expressed in many different ways so that every employee can learn them in the way that they learn best? We're going to talk more about determining your culture and get a little bit more into the nitty gritty of that within our webinar on January the 5th. That's going to be at 8 a.m. Central. But these are a few great questions for you to start thinking about. So until next time, I look forward to seeing you on our webinar. And next week, join us for our last podcast in this series on culture, where we talk about how do you change culture within your organization.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the OMA podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights and inspiration to excel in your business relationships. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more entrepreneurs like yourself. For additional resources and to stay connected with our thriving community, visit our website at www.omaadvisors.com. Until next time, keep building those meaningful connections, and remember, your success starts with the nurturing of the right relationships. Take care, and let's make great things happen together.